Yeah.
Well, hey everybody. My name is Jared Malata. I'm here with my good friend Mateo Calise, and this, sir, is the Coltist, season 2, episode 4. We're channeling Adam Vinatieri. Let's start with
Yeah.
Matt Gay missed a kick, and we talked about it was 47 yards. I think anything inside 48, he got to be
You
automatic.
gotta make, yeah.
Yeah, we can't expect him to make 5 50-yard kicks in a game. He already did that, and that's like a once in a career thing. You hope. Um,
Yeah, and then you go out and you miss you miss your kicking dome. But yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then we're also kicking at
Sooner
home
or
in a
later
dome.
he was bound to miss. I mean, he was bound to miss one sooner or later. He was perfect before that.
The odds are that you will not play in more than one overtime game in a season, and the odds are probably really bad that you'd win more than one overtime game with a rookie quarterback and a first year head coach. So I don't really know what anybody else thought was going to go on Sunday. But through the first half of that game, I was kind of like, yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. Like, for those of you following along at home, um, am I encouraged by the outcome? Yes. We were talking before we started recording. This feels like chicken soup, man. Like I feel like we're in the beginning of an all-time great quarterback's career.
Yeah.
And that, one of the things that I feel like a hypocrite saying, but that I feel like we gotta say it. Numbers don't tell the whole story.
Yeah. You can't base an opinion just on the numbers, just saying, oh, hey, Anthony Richardson is a bad quarterback because his completion rate is below, it's below 55% like that. Especially, when you have such a small sample size. I mean, it's just 4 starts. I mean, that tells the whole story. I mean, there could be plenty of things that happen that, deviate that number to somewhere where you're like, hey, this might not be accurate to Anthony Richardson's ability as a passing quarterback. I think this is the case of that. I think there were a couple of drops and some very catchable balls, and there were no plays, where I mean, was there even a play where you were like, hey, he missed with that ball. He threw that where he shouldn't.
That's the
25
thing.
passing
That's
attempts. I
the
mean,
thing
yeah.
I don't see when I watch him play football is I don't see him having to sail it a bunch out of bounds. I don't see him throwing it at people's feet or to just a low ball. Now,
Yeah.
he did have a low ball, but it was supposed to be a low outside ball, receiver or defender in trail. That ball belongs outside. Guy dives for it, has two hands on that, and just does not come up with that football. Again, like we just started our show with, anything inside 48 yards, the kicker
You
has
gotta
to
make,
make.
yeah.
Well, my rules are anytime you can take a picture, see through, ball hits your hands, and you don't catch that, hey man, that's on the receiver. And you got to say it because
Yeah.
because here's, you know, I hate saying it, but it's true. I live in Indianapolis, Indiana. I live in Indiana. This is an at-will employment state. So a lot of the people that are going to be fans of the Indianapolis Colts, they work under these conditions, which means you could be fired from your job at any time for no cause. You are an at-will employee. That is not how it works in the NFL
Yeah.
as much as you'd like to think it does. Okay. So for everybody that is thinking Anthony Richardson's not very good because he only completed like 52.8% of his passes, this is what we are talking about. What we were talking about before the game or before we started recording is that Anthony Richardson throws a competitive football. What
Yeah.
this means, this is beyond accuracy. This is something you cannot teach people. I'm telling you, I played quarterback. I coach quarterbacks. I've scouted quarterbacks. You cannot teach someone to roll opposite,
Yeah.
meaning he's a right handed guy rolling to his left, hit someone like I think he was like 10, 15 yards down the field. Um, again, it's like against his body, what his body wants to do.
Yeah.
He had the sprint out, throw the out. That's so hard to do to the tight end going to his right. He had the ball to Pittman in the end zone. That was a laser beam. And
Yeah. That was on a rope. Yeah.
the thing that I took away from this game was those receivers just got to get used to his football. He throws
Yeah.
a laser beam. It's going where he wants it to go. You're just going to have to do something, baby. And so you have to sort of cheers a dude that like what is his name? Steichen? Not Steichen. That's the coach. The receiver.
You
He
have
is
Downs, Pierce,
I'm
Pittman,
thinking a bigger boy, like a tight end split end type of player.
Ali Cox,
Nope.
Granson,
Huh? I think it's Granson.
Kyle. Yeah,
I think
Granson.
he's bailed Anthony out a couple times by making an athletic catch. But in order, for, in my opinion, for there to be an athletic catch, there had to be an athletic throw, right? Where the
Yeah.
quarterback not only was the ball where it's supposed to be, but only you could get it.
Yeah.
He gave you an opportunity, and I think you can't really replicate that in practice, right? You don't really want your guys running full speed between games trying to figure out their timing. It's just like they're going to have to get some continuity going. I think those receivers absolutely will start coming down with those balls. And like I've said, Granson's even bailed Anthony out a couple times on an
Yeah.
athletic football where you're like, hey, he's going to have to leap. He's going to have to extend his arms. He's going to have to tap that to himself. But yeah, I'm glad that you kind of brought that up. Like, what is an inaccurate football? Dude, an inaccurate football is one that you threw into traffic, threw too low, too high, outside of his wheelhouse. You know what I mean? He doesn't
Yeah.
throw that. He doesn't do that. He throws a ball in your wheelhouse. You just have to make a play on the other end. And that will
Yeah.
be,
He
in
used his
my eyes, the
receivers.
story. Yeah, it's on the receivers. It's on
Yeah.
Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman Jr. to not only get open like Josh Downs does, he is quickly the two. That's impressive to me. And one of the smallest people on the field, by the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And a trusted target. I really dig it. Obviously,
Yeah.
you lose in
And
overtime, and to be upfront about this, the Colts lost this game in overtime because the rules are stupid.
yeah. Yeah. I never understood why they are not changed yet. I mean, it's kind of obvious. And you have a system that works and it's entertaining and people say it's fair, it's fun to watch. Like, why not just change that? Make it like it is in college.
Yeah.
I mean, it works just something, that works for everyone involved, where you're like, hey, it's more entertaining, it's more fair because it gives both teams a chance to have the ball.
Yeah.
It just works. So I'm like, hey, might consider changing that. I mean, if they did not do this in, I believe it was a playoff game between the Bills and the Chiefs,
Mm-hmm.
where Josh Allen didn't get a chance to touch the football. And I'm like, hey, if you're not changing it after that, then you're not changing it at all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we are, of course, this might be making a bit of an assumption because you never know, but you're a coin flip away from 3-1 and having,
Including two overtime wins.
two overtime
Which, like I
wins.
said, you don't even have very good odds to play more than one of them in a season, much less like win.
Yeah, much
You
less
know what I
win
mean?
those. But
Um,
I just looked it up today. The Colts have the third easiest. You never know in the NFL. And saying you have
yep,
an easy
the week to
schedule,
week schedule,
you
week to week league.
you do not want to say that, but I mean, if you look at the teams the Colts are going to face, these are not teams that should be challenging for the playoffs. And these are teams that you could very well be beating.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, even if we lost this game, I'm still thinking, hey, JT is supposed to be back, might be back this week. He is
Yeah.
scheduled to, begin practicing again with the team and begin playing. And if JT, comes right back in and starts, playing like he's used to and he's fully healthy and he's back to 100%,
Mm-hmm.
this offense could be a lot better. The
Yeah.
defense, they had an off game, but they were missing the Forrest Buckner, who is the team's most important player right now and the most important player to the scheme they run.
Yeah.
You need Buckner in there. And Shaq Leonard should be back to 100%. I mean, you can tell, like watching the game, you can tell that Shaq Leonard is not really fully ready to be back out there. I mean, playing 100% of the snaps. And
It didn't
so,
seem
yeah,
like he was mentally all the way there.
yeah. I mean, he's gonna take some time. He's coming off, a season-ending injury. Players like Leonard, who rely a lot on their physicality, they. I mean, I expected him to take some time to get there. It's
Hmm.
not gonna be immediate. Of course, we would have liked it for him to, be back and start playing like his usual self once again. But I mean, hey, we can wait him out. So yeah, other than that, on the injury to Dallas Flowers, that sucks. But hey, it's bound to happen.
Right.
Injuries happen. So
And we were gonna be tested in our secondary. So
yeah,
losing a player kind of fits the problem we already had, right? Um, I was kind of looking at injuries and seeing like I noticed Ryan Kelly didn't play.
yeah.
Uh
Bernard
his
Raymond
wife
didn't play.
gave birth to twins. So that's like a good reason to not have actually played that game is well, your wife was giving birth to twins and after losing a kid last year and that kind of destroying your offensive line's continuity because your head wasn't in it. Hey, gave birth to twins and they're coming home from the NICU and
Yeah,
I think he's gonna come back. So I think when you think about what are the most important positions on offense that you kind of got to get right. And, you know, Chris Ballard says built through the trenches. So I'm going to
yeah.
acquiesce. I'm going to acquiesce and say, okay, we're building it through the trenches. I got to have a good center. And then most NFL quarterbacks are right-handed, and I got to protect his blind side.
He's
So my
blindside, so you need a
my
good left
left
tackle.
tackle is like, nah, they're equally important. The guy giving him the ball and the guy watching his back,
Yeah. And
right?
and the guy also, the guy that's calling out your protections and offensive line schemes to the rest of the line because you have a rookie quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy's not ready to be calling out like, hey, they might do this on the defensive line. Watch out, this blitzer. The guy doesn't have even though I love Anthony Richardson, he doesn't have the experience to do that effectively yet. So you need that veteran, 30-year-old center who has been in the NFL for what, like 8, 9 seasons,
right.
8, 9 years in the NFL, basically, and you've seen it all. Like there is not much a defensive line can do to confuse you.
Hmm.
So yeah, missing that guy, missing Raymond, who is, I want to give a shout out to Raymond. He's been becoming one of the best left
Top 10
tackles in the
tackle.
NFL. And he's been doing
Hmm.
that quietly. I'm not reading much hype into this guy. So I'm like, hey, is anyone watching this? Like back when we had, Davenport and Matt Pryor, everyone was like, hey, the left tackle situation is fucking horrible here.
Right.
And our left tackle sucks. And now that we have a good one and a darn good one, I mean, he's a top 10 left tackle in the NFL right now. I mean, it's really quiet. Like no one is saying, hey, we have our left tackle for the future. So yeah, I just want to give, say, hey, call to your attention. Hey, we have a darn good left tackle, and that's a lot to be happy about.
Yeah, and one of the things that sticks out to me about Bernard Raymond is his RAS, right? If you remember when he was drafted, a lot of people were like, "Who? This dude hasn't even played football that long." But when you look at his measurables, he is like an elite specimen, right? And it wasn't just about like arm length and height and weight and shit, you know what I mean? Like he's an all around really good athlete. And I am thinking to this season of football, I just got done coaching. I had a conversation with my seniors yesterday. Um, we realized pretty early in the season that we had a lack of numbers in a brand new football program, right? So we had a lot of guys that are going to have to play both ways. In fact, like we had several guys that never left the field and literally unless they were injured. And I realized really quickly, like we have to do something to maintain some level of physical condition during this season, because if not, these guys' bodies are going to fall apart, right? So I told him like, look, if a couple of you will show up so that it's worth the drive, I'll drive up in the morning. I'll help you get a run in,
Yeah,
get a lift in, stretch out, all that shit. Tell me what's wrong so I can tell the coach so we can get you treatment or whatever. because we had no support. I mean, we're doing that all ourselves. There ain't no training staff. You know what I mean? We don't have team doctors. So we kind of had to do all that ourselves. Well, what's the best way to do it? Well, meet up and work out. Well, both them boys have kind of developed the love for football, right? And they're like, hey man, I want to keep playing after high school. And, I want to go to college and like I want to try to do it. What do I got to do? And I tell them the same thing we're talking about Bernard Raymond. He didn't play a lot of football. He's a really good athlete. So what I tell him, your focus does not even need to be on playing football. You need to handle your grades. The most
Yeah,
important thing that you can do is keep yourself healthy. And in the next few years, get yourself involved with a Division I football program somehow, like a walk on. But you don't even need to play a bunch. Your goal should be to make the Senior Bowl. So in
yeah,
4 or more years, once you've had an opportunity to get yourself into college, get used to what you're doing, get yourself into a rhythm, and then ultimately start training to become a Division I athlete. And here's your plan to do that. And they started thinking like this is a lot more believable. You're not telling me that go to these camps and no, those camps are no good to you now, right? What we need to do is be the best athlete that we can be for our height and our weight. And you think about how are they drafting people in the NFL? Well, they're drafting elite height and weight, and also what you can do with your body, your 40 time, your high jump, your long jump, all that,
yeah,
right? I was basically telling my guys it's like a decathlon. Like you might as well just run on the track team and be a decathlete because it's the
yeah,
same thing as a NFL combine. And think about Anthony Richardson, 10.0 RIS. And then we're sitting here
yeah.
talking about him, and I'm not saying like he does not have the arm strength, he does not have the mechanics to be able to get the ball wherever he wants it to go. And it's like, no, he has a laser beam
Yeah, he
for
has
an
to,
arm,
yeah.
bro.
And that might be an understatement. Even
I'm
saying
telling
that,
like I'll put it like this.
that's more
There's a
that's
couple
more than a laser
people,
beam.
there's a couple people that I'm like, they have better arm talent than that ever, like all time ever, in his third or fourth game. You know what I mean? And you can already see, like, oh, because like he's a willing runner of the football. This tells me as long as he can stay relatively healthy,
Mm,
he'll play for years. He don't care if he runs it, if he passes, it
yeah.
don't matter.
Like
He'll do whatever it takes to win,
what
right?
I what I really think that is an important point when discussing Richardson, and Chris Shepard said it, and I believe it was also Brett who said it.
Mhm.
He doesn't panic and try to run at the first side of pressure.
Right. He's
First and
trying to look
foremost,
good.
he's trying to get the ball out. If there is nothing there and running is the best course of action, he's gonna do it. Like with
And people
scrambling
have to hold
quarterbacks.
on. People have to realize when he checks out of just hitting the guy on the little 3 yard hitch, it's because he's like, if I throw that ball to him, he catches and gets hit immediately. That's a 3 yard gain. Or I could just pull it, run it. I'm gonna get 5, right? And then potentially get outside and out of bounds upright. He's taking a hit. He has to think about that in
Yeah,
real time. Like, mm, I don't really need to do that. I can just tuck this thing. I'm a big boy. His problem is not realizing everyone that touches you is an elite
he's trying.
athlete,
Yeah.
and they're trying to kill you. Like
Hmm.
he has to understand that it ain't fun, right? And that's the thing that I do see is that, and I love is that he's out here having a good time. Like he's not irresponsible with the football. For the record, the Colts are about to play uh the Titans and Ryan
Yeah, it's
Tannehill,
gonna be a good one.
who has 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. You want to talk about not being responsible with the football, right? Again, what we want to make sure that we're saying is like, look, I see the statistics from this last game, and if you didn't watch the game and you are a box score Bobby, then yeah, you look at that and you say 11 for 25. What is he doing? He threw for 200 yards on
Yeah,
11 completions.
he got three
What do
touchdowns.
you see out of that? Like, you know what I mean? Like when you look at the box score, you can't even see the completion rate. They don't even post the percentage. So you looked at it and were like, oh, 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 he's Garbo. That's 48% from the, you know what I mean? Like, nope, that's not how it works. Their offense, their offensive game plan is 1, 2, 3, go. Like it's I wouldn't say dink and dunk. That's definitely not what they're trying to do. But it's like run, short pass, intermediate pass, bomb. You know what I mean? Like they're climbing the tree.
Yeah.
Which again, this is completely normal. And you see teams like establish the run on the ground, hit the short stuff, run your little play action for your intermediate game, and then take a shot on the next first down. Like they've been doing that for decades. Um, but like I said, the thing that I'm not seeing, because we want to talk about accuracy, and that's like it's a big debate among our colleagues, where we got people that only really see the box score, cannot evaluate some as you see it in real time. So your brain don't work like that. You can only look at the numbers. What
Yeah.
I can say with confidence is that 4 or 5 of those went off the receiver's hands, should have caught. And I'm probably on the short side of that, meaning there's probably more of those 14 incompletions that were not on him. And
Yeah.
again, that's to me, that's call a sign of that's gonna be a great quarterback, because it's like he's not figuring out where to put the ball. He knows where the ball goes. I'm kind of wondering if the guy on the other end knows, right?
Yeah, and that's
Um,
gonna come. That's gonna come with time. You have
yep,
to.
got to do it in
I
game,
mean,
baby.
hey, it's just his fourth NFL game. His
Mhm,
fourth NFL game playing with his receivers.
mhm.
Continuity works wonders.
Oh yeah,
He's gonna. I mean, he's gonna be throwing to Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, Jelani Woods, hopefully
Josh
Jonathan
Downs.
Taylor, Josh Downs, also. Yeah,
You got
Kylan
a
Granson.
nice little package of players. They
Yeah, I
could
mean,
all play together
he's
for a long
gonna
time.
he's gonna be throwing to these guys for at least 2-3 years more, most of them
Mm-hmm.
before the rookie contracts start expiring.
Yep.
This is just fourth NFL game. Like imagine this in 2 seasons, like after 25 more games. Imagine that the chemistry
Mhm.
they develop, the understanding they develop,
Yeah.
the understanding between them. Like
And the
sky's
knowledge
the
that
limit.
like this year, I don't necessarily think the Colts are losing games because of their offense.
Nah.
So in the years past where we haven't had a reliable quarterback, or a less than stellar situation at quarterback, let's say it like that. Because I like Phillip Rivers. We got to the playoffs. We should have beat the Bills. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
got me in a coach.
Yeah.
That
That
shit
was.
pissed me off. Like
Yeah. I still remember.
we should have
Yeah.
won
That
that
was a.
game going away, man. Like we actually had that game in the bag and dropped that. And I want to also point out that Frank Reich is the coach that made me want to be a coach. And also he's like doing real bad in Carolina. It's not going very well. And it's just like, right.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about it, but you don't need to be quoting Bible verses. Football needs to be your religion. Hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
It's 2023. You know what I mean? Like get with the program. You know what I mean? Taylor Swift became an NFL fan and is dating one of the greatest tight ends of all time in Travis Kelce. And today, Aaron Rodgers called Travis Kelce Mr. Pfizer. And that's Aaron Rodgers' highlight for the year. Congratulations. That's as many views as you'll get. And you don't even own it or make money on it. It's just a video of you. Isn't that nice? But yeah, the Titans also 2-2. They're 0-2 on the road right now, so super vulnerable, right? Colts at home are 0-2, which is not ideal. It turns out.
Yeah.
You don't really want to be losing games at home. You're supposed to win those. But I want to again point out, COVID changed all this. You see, before COVID, the home team was chalk. Like 63% of the time, the home team wins. It's kind of defies gambling odds. Okay. Well, since COVID, that number's below 53%. So not only did it drop, but it's like more of a toss up. 52, 53%. It's not great odds.
Yeah.
So that said, it's not. I don't think it's a big deal. The Colts starting out 0-2 at home. More importantly, the Colts are like a win away from equaling or from not a couple wins away from equaling. Were they three
Yeah. I believe it
15
was
and
four. It
they
was
win 4 games?
four.
All right.
I
So let
believe
me
it
back
was
off that
four
statement.
12. Yeah, 4-12-1.
Yeah, 4-12 went on. You're right. So no. So they got a couple wins to go. But like they're halfway home. And they're actually kind of in the driver's seat in the division at the moment. Um, they've already got a win over Houston, who I think has the second best quarterback in the division in CJ Stroud. Obviously, I'm a Colts fan. I'm biased. I think
Hmm.
Anthony Richardson's the best quarterback in the division. Um, I mean, obviously Trevor Lawrence, but let's be for real. After this season, after they only win 7 games this year, the Jags are going to have to get rid of him.
Yeah,
What?
Jack. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is not looking as
He's
well as
not
I
long for
expected.
a Jacksonville program.
And
Um,
I expected him to be, dominant. He hasn't been there yet.
They had a good season last year, but it's like you talk about continuity. Like you get a couple seasons together, you can make some stuff happen. It's hard to come in and win now, because not everybody speaks the same operating language, and very rarely are you going to go from leader to leader and they do it the same way, right? So yeah, I mean, there have been a couple people reach out to me like, "Are you disappointed?" or "What happened in the end of the game?" Like trying to look for someone to blame. And again, I'd always say that's a problem with capitalism and the way the world works is that everybody's always thinking about somebody getting fired, right? Whose fault
Yeah,
was that? Um, Dallas Flowers got injured, and a backup cornerback got confused, and that's why the Colts gave up that touchdown
yeah,
to Puka Nacua. And if you watch the play, two guys chased the flat and left the seam open, and that's why Puka was wide open is because they both ran out past the hash. Um, that's gonna happen when you have an injury, when you don't have a contingency plan. Like, think about this is frustrating for me that the Colts lost on a miscommunication at the cornerback position. They went into the season with like a lack of depth at cornerback and not a great room, right? A very young room getting a lot of time, right? And they're bringing along Juju Brents. He didn't start right away or play right away, right? So there's a lot of discontinuity in the cornerback room. And you would think if we can see it and we're not there, I'm not part of the Colts. But if I'm looking at the outside in and I could say, man, that's a super young team and the cornerback room looks really vulnerable. If I could see that from the outside in, you mean to tell me Chris Ballard didn't think in that? Get out of here. Get out of here, man. So the problem that I have is that I would devote asset, right, to making sure those people know we're really thin at corner. There's a good chance you might have to come in the event of an
yeah,
injury late in the game. You got to know what you're doing, right? Can't be making these sort of errors, right? So that guys, you don't have two dudes chasing it out, giving up the seam, right? We know they want the seam. You give up the out all day. You know what I mean? Like that. That's particularly frustrating to me because it's like that's the way you coach defense at like the high school level, right? Is hey, it's they have pretty much have to score or kick a field goal here, right? So they're either going to score here or they're going to have to kick a field goal. So you would let them complete the out all day. I'd rather you double the seam. Give up the out going out of bounds. That's not scoring, right? So
yeah,
that's what's particularly frustrating is that it's kind of a blunder for two people to be going out there in that, hey, I'd rather you both chase the seam and keep them out of the end zone, right? And again, I'm repeating myself, but that's kind of like it's double frustrating. It's like if we from the outside can see that the room's shaky, then they both commit like a bad decision making on top of it. Because again, the players do the action on the field. The coaches can only try to put you in the right spot, right? But yeah, and obviously you'd never have two guys chasing a seam and giving up that out. I get what I'm saying, but I'd rather them have made the error the other way, right? Because that I think is more of a winning line than two guys chasing it out, going out of bounds.
yeah,
That doesn't score a touchdown anyway. Who cares? You'll give that up all day, or let him catch it in front of us and we'll just tackle him. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So those kinds of things are frustrating. But yeah, the Colts get a shot to get off the schneid at home, right? Having started 0-2 against a Tennessee Titans team. that's also 2-2. Uh, having win, loss, win on their records. The thing about them that's sort of iffy for me is that their second win came against the Bengals. And for those following along at home, Joe Burrow has a calf injury that he's been playing
Yeah,
through.
he's not
So
100%.
he's not 100%. And so that victory for me kind of has a little bit of an asterisk where I'm like, right, but was it the Joe Burrow that you thought you were going to get?
Yeah,
Um,
no.
so take that 2-2 record with a grain of salt. And I see for the record, it's not like I'm sitting here. The Colts are a 1-point favorite at home, which means Vegas thinks there's a good chance the Colts will win. But here's what I think. This very well could have been a very piss poor 1-3 Tennessee Titans team coming into town. And I
Yeah,
don't think that like a Mike Vrabel coached 1-3 Tennessee Titans team does not lose to the young upstart Colts. Do you get what I'm saying? Like the downtrodden, they ain't getting beat like that. But the just beat the Bungles 27-3, 2-2 Titans, they could stomach a loss. So that's kind of how I look at it. Is like it's not about can you afford to lose or not. They can, these are billionaire
yeah, they can, yeah,
owned teams. They can afford a loss. But it's like if the tables were turned just a little bit, then I would feel worse, right? I'd be like, yeah, a 1-3 Mike Vrabel squad ain't coming here and dumping this game like they're a 1-point dog. Oh, I'm coaching the hell out of you this week. But now they're 2-2 and they just dog walked a shitty Bengals team, and it's like they're iffy. They're
yeah,
iffy.
yeah. They
That's
are.
it.
Yeah,
They're I think they got two wide receivers injured, I think. So that kind of tells me that's why
yeah.
Ryan
Hopkins. Yeah, Hopkins is not like it's not 100%. Traylon Burks is also. I don't know if he's. I think he's out for the next one. Yeah, he's out. Yeah,
who is Traylon Burks?
Traylon Burks. Yeah, it just looked it up. To miss a
Okay.
week or so with an injury, he's gonna miss the game.
Well, I was thinking like I loosely follow the whole NFL. Like I check people's injuries, but like I want to say there are like three or four wide receivers on IR for Tennessee this year. So like I get it. Hop's not 100%. Burks is out. No, no, no. It goes like deeper than that. Let's see. Kyrus Jackson, IR. Kyle Phillips, IR on Monday. Josh Weil, there's a tight end, questionable as of October 1st, so Monday. So the reason or Sunday, the reason I bring that up is not to dump on your point, right? That like Hop's not 100%, Burks is out. It's like, no, dude, they have nothing. Like their cabinet is bare, right? This is the Derrick Henry show.
Yeah,
I think if I'm the Colts, I'm worried about Zaire Franklin. Not because I think he can't tackle Derrick Henry. Whatever. We're about to find out. Um, but I think that you got to keep Zaire Franklin in the game. How to like he has to have 4 quarters of gas. And again, that's not to say that he hasn't or isn't or won't. It's that he did kind of come up limp Sunday. Didn't he get dinged up?
yeah. I believe he did.
So that's why I'm saying like I'm worried about him making it playing a whole game trying to stop Derrick Henry. But it's like Tennessee doesn't have anybody to throw to. They have like a limited hop, right?
Yeah,
The cupboard's kind of bare otherwise. Or they're signing somebody out the practice squad or something. You know what I mean? Like so Tennessee has this sort of offensive problems that's actually good for the Colts with a bad secondary, right? And this week I envision like a slowed down um every down kind of, and I hate to do like it's like every down doesn't matter, Jared, but like there are certain offenses where like they run a fast enough offense and not every down matters. And then there's the slow, plodding, dink and dunk, but run heavy, play action oriented offense that Tannehill is going to have to use now with a empty cupboard. And for the record, Colts didn't look great against the run last week. Gave up a 100-yard rusher. So, and barely, but still, um, there's cause to be like totally a winnable contest, and
Yeah,
also this could be a buzzsaw for us, because Vrabel's sort of a different coach. Um,
yeah, he's a good one.
yeah, yeah, yes, he's a really good coach. Um,
Really, that's the him and Siemens is the only things that I really envy from the from the
oh,
Titans.
Jeremy Simmons. Yeah, they don't really have much I'm envious of, but yeah, I do really like Mike Vrabel. He's a hell of a coach. Um, so yeah, we've talked the hell out of the Colts. I think the arrow's pointing up. I'm having it's like watching the Colts is like chicken soup. It's just filling, satisfying. Obviously, two overtime games in a row that you had a shot to win those games is fantastic. Um, we'll hope that like has a better game numbers wise. That way, everyone's happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, I was certainly encouraged by that. And then as far as this is an Indianapolis Colts and Indiana Pacers podcast. Did you know that? And
yeah,
so, and so there's not really much to talk about right now. We're still a couple weeks from preseason. But it was Pacers Media Day yesterday. So everybody was in the facility in their uniforms, taking pictures. So it's just good to see everybody. I'm excited. Jarris Walker. I have a
yeah,
feeling. I have a feeling that he's gonna be special. I just noticed rapport building is like something that interests me, and I noticed TJ McConnell was getting interviewed, and Jarris Walker butted in and asked him a question about like who's your favorite rookie, and then of course TJ McConnell says, well, actually, it's kind of a down class, like nothing really to speak about, and that was to Jarris Walker's like one of the rookies of ours, and so like that level of rapport tells me, and I am reading into it and providing commentary on it. That tells me that TJ McConnell knows he's good. Because think
yeah,
about this: if Jarris Walker is kind of like a ninth or
yeah.
tenth
Kind of me.
guy,
Yeah,
like barely making the game day
he's not
roster,
saying that.
he ain't saying that, bro. They don't have that level of rapport built, but like he's a rotational piece or like what I mean, sixth, seventh man or like the fill in or like, no, he's starting and he's like one of our movers and shakers. That's kind of the vibe I got off it. Like he's going to have a role. So gave me a little excitement because I was like, oh, because you really don't get much out of media day, right? They're not
Yeah,
playing. So who cares? But yeah, it's obviously good to get everybody in the building, get some pictures taken. But yeah, hey man, Colts are 2-2, got a winnable game at home against a pretty limited offensively Tennessee Titans team coming off a big kind of questionable win over the questionable Bengals. So I don't know about you. I'm confident. Like I think the Colts will win this game. Like they're favorite, but they're at home and they're 0-2 at home. You know what I mean? So hmm. Enjoy the games this week. We'll see you after next week's games.
there we go. Yeah, yeah, sure.